Thank you very much, Douglas, followed by Ronald Salem.
Good evening. My name's Doug Deaver, and I want to start by just thanking you for giving this time for us to speak with you. I live on the Santiago Creek and in Santa Ana, and I want to start by really expressing to you a fear that I have. And the fear is that somehow maybe the council has gotten the wrong impression about the feelings of the people of Santa Ana about the bike trail proposal for the Santiago Creek. I think the reason that perhaps one side really has just spoken their will thus far is that they've had a very strong, somewhat clandestine and political operation rather than maybe a more transparent and democratic one. And so there are two false impressions, I think, that have been brought forth. One is that everyone in the area is for this, and that is certainly not the case. The second is that all of the consequences of such a bike trail would be good, and that is absolutely not the case. And so there are reasons beyond the time that I have to speak to tell you about what would be wrong about having this bike trail. Let me tell you that among them would be that it would involve the government taking private property from people. It would involve natural habitats being destroyed. It would involve 50-year-old trees being felled that will never really be replaced, certainly not in my lifetime. It would involve a long-term and a short-term monetary outlay that I think at this point in time would be irresponsible. I want to talk just about the monetary matters for just a moment. A Class 1 off-street cemented bike trail would benefit less than 100 people or potential bicycle commuters, as extrapolated from the Orange County Transportation Authority Commuters Bikeway Strategic Plan, reference page 167. An analysis of the National Bicycle and Pedestrian Documentation Project data from 2008 to 2010 found that 92% of the bicyclists were repeat users of the trail they were on. Further extrapolation indicates that the costs of each person, a proposed rider for this proposed one bike trail, is $22,500 versus the cost of $4,200 for the same bicyclist for the currently approved Class 2 bike trail. I beg you to remember that patrolling and maintenance of the trail would create ongoing and long-term costs at a time of economic shortfalls. What we have here is a small group of hobbyists seeking to have the citizens of Santa Ana foot the bill for their expensive recreation. To do so would be irresponsible. Please do not approve this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronald Salem, followed by Charles Martin.
To put on my glasses, getting old. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Dr. Ronald Salem. I live in the Fisher Park neighborhood, right by Mayor Polito. And I am a member and interim director of the Save Santiago Creek Alliance. Better? I am feeling very upset that there is a group that many of the council members have been contacted by, including many other officials, including the OCTA, about a proposed change to the bicycle master plan for the city of Santa Ana that, of course, is part of the circulation element. The OCTA adopted the Commuter Bicycle Bikeway Strategic Plan on May 22nd, 2009, and I am aware that you have authorized an expenditure of $500,000 to redo the circulation plan as required by law. However, the proposed change by a number of groups and individuals to change the bicycle master plan to extend a Class 1 off-street cemented-in bike trail down the Santiago Creek in our neighborhoods, which are Floral Park, West Floral Park, Fisher Park, and other neighborhoods, I'm ardently opposed against. The ultimate goal of the pro-bike trail organizations, which many of you have communicated with, is not to build the trail from the I-5 to Jack Fisher Park. I gave the clerk some emails that I obtained from a request for public records that were distributed, and emails that many of you have received. It's a page of emails. Do you have that? Did you distribute that? Yes. Okay. The emails are from Bruce Bauer, who's an attorney, and a Mark Lindsay, two of them, and they clearly state that their goal is to have the bike trail go from the I-5 all the way down to the Santa Ana River. However, the real issue is fiscal responsibility. The City of Santa Ana will obligate itself to pay the new and ongoing costs of maintenance and security of a Class 1 bike trail in that area. As you know, redevelopment funds, which Santa Ana has often used to balance their project budgets, are a changing money vehicle. There will not be the same redevelopment dollars available to the city. Overall, since my time's up, oops, sorry about that, I put on silent. Overall, I find it outrageous that we will, I have to stop here? Just give us your last thought. Okay. Outrageous that the city would consider spending the money to maintain on an ongoing basis a Class 1 bicycle trail when we may lose our fire department, we have decreased monies for the library, we have city furloughs for employees, and I don't find that a priority to build such a bike trail for less than 100 possible users. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Martin, followed by Jason Wynn, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members, for the brief opportunity to speak this evening. As mentioned, I'm Charlie Martin, and I'm a resident of West Floral Park. And I'm here to state that there is a very significant movement within our community, as is previously stated, against the pending proposal before this council for a Santiago Creek bike trail from the Santa Ana Freeway to Jack Fisher Park. And I'm going to repeat this with an underlying strategy to continue this bike path to the Santa Ana River through Fisher Park and the West Floral Park areas. This action, and it's important to understand this action, if taken, would be destructive and devastating to our beautiful Fisher, Floral, West Floral Park, Santiago Creek areas because of the elimination of 80 to 100-year-old trees and the negative impact that that would have on the precious wildlife in that area. It must be clearly stated, and again, that the Santiago Creek areas that we're talking about here, considered under the proposal, are very special and are definitely different from the other Santiago Creek areas where the bike path has been built. In the next few weeks, we will prove to you these important differences and propose an alternative plan that makes more sense. Again, as has been stated before, up to this point, you have obviously heard mostly from the proponents of this proposal. I'm here to state that we are against the current proposal before you, and we will be against, again, we will be against any future proposals that would affect the Santiago Creek between Jack Fisher Park and the Santa Ana River. We are preparing a more formal response and action plan that will be communicated to you individually and as a group within the next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jason, please, followed by Barbara Russell, followed by Phil Schaefer.
Good evening. My name is Jason Nguyen, and I'm a long-term resident of Fisher Park. I am deeply concerned about the proposal change to the bicycle master for the city of Santa Ana. The proposal change for the bicycle path is a horrible anti-green and economic suicidal act. The pro-bike trail groups falsely claimed that the bike trail would reduce crime along the creek, where in fact that information is not accurate. The study called the Evaluation of Burke-Gilman Trail Effect on Property and Crime found that the existence trail had little, if any, effect on crime and vandalism experienced by the adjacent property owners. Fisher Park is probably one of the very few neighborhoods in Orange County that has a natural creek run through, private backyards, including mine. Santiago Creek is also a bird sanctuary and a trail refuge to many wild animals. By chopping down trees and built a cement bike path is a very horrible act to the environment and make a very negative impact to the city of Santa Ana. So I urge you to consider preserving the natural beauty of the creek and not approving the bike path plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, followed by Phil Schaefer, followed by Cecilia Gordon.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City staff. My name is Barbara Russell. I live at 410 West Park Lane and have for the past 36 years. And I am here to speak about the proposed bike trail extension to the Santa Ana River that is too destructive to be considered. Proponents have marketed this trail with false advertising, but now that residents are hearing the truth, we are uniting in opposition. Since I only have 3 minutes, let me cover 3 false claims being made. Number 1, proponents say property values would rise based on a study where a bike trail was built over an abandoned railroad track. But here we are talking about a uniquely rural part of Santa Ana, unavailable in most cities. A stretch of creek with decades-old trees and shrubs that provide habitat for many species of wildlife and birds. A place for hiking, walking the dog, enjoying nature, to be preserved and protected, not bulldozed away and covered in asphalt. Homeowners choose to live along the creek to experience being close to nature. According to neighborhood realtor Phil Schaefer, if the city were to approve the demolition for this trail, the surrounding area would suffer and property values would decline. Property value is tied to city revenue that supports our fire, police, schools, libraries, all of the services we want and need from our city. Number 2, pro-trail people have won some support by claiming falsely that the Boy Scouts would provide cleanup and maintenance. President of the OC Council of Boy Scouts, Jeff Herman, has communicated to us that the Scouts not only were not asked, but they have no interest in, quote, maintaining or using property in Santiago Creek, unquote. These services would be a necessary expenditure from the city budget. Number 3, in order to build a flat 10-foot wide trail of asphalt or concrete, property would need to be acquired. And that would have to be by eminent domain because we would not be giving it up willingly. Once the trees are gone, erosion during the rainy season would necessitate building a concrete retaining wall down the side of the creek. 30 years ago, residents fought against turning the creek into a concrete channel. We didn't want it then, and we don't want it now. Please consider alternative plans to a creek bike trail. No one wants to see available grant money go unused. But it seems to me you can surely find another location in the city that would benefit from repair of their asphalt streets and bike lane striping. You, our decision makers, must be wary of destroying something we can't get back. I ask you tonight not to ruin the harmony of one of the most beautiful and historic resources in the city of Santa Ana. And I wish you all happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you for both comments there, Barbara. Phil Schaefer, followed by Ceci Thornton, followed by Molly Martin.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I know most of you personally, and I'd like to wish you all happy holidays and Merry Christmas in advance. I'm very alarmed by what I hear going on because it didn't involve neighbors. It came from outside. Shirley Grindle, a group from Orange, that really came up with this idea. And instead of coming to neighbors and it being a grassroots thing, these people have gone behind our backs and met with all of you personally and not taken the time to meet with any of us. I've lived in West Floral Park since 1984, and one of my goals was to get on the creek because of its beauty, its natural environment. It's just nice, I think. It's a big plus, something that we have that's very unique elsewhere. The Pro Group has lied to you when they said that it'll increase our property values. As you know, I'm a realtor in Santa Ana. I work specifically in Santa Ana, have for many, many years. And all we have to do is look at where we have bike trails in Santa Ana, and you can see that those property values are far less than the existing property values in this area. The study they cite was from 1987. It's 14 years old, and they took an abandoned railway right-of-way and turned it into a green belt and bike path. Well, of course that was an improvement over an abandoned railway. Anybody could know that. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. But in the 10 feet of land that the city supposedly owns, the easement that's back there, the ground is on a 45-degree angle. It's going to have to be leveled up. You can't ride your bike on a 45-degree angle. I'm a biker. I know. I go down the Santa Ana River all the time. And you're going to tear out beautiful trees. Trees add value to all of our properties, whether you back to the creek or not. Santa Ana is known as being a city of trees, an urban forest. I know our mayor's very green. He's very concerned about these kind of issues, and there's been talk in the past about restoring the Santa Ana River. So I'd hate to see us go the opposite direction in our neighborhood and concrete in that channel. That would just be a shame. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Phil. Cindy, followed by Molly, followed by Debbie McEwen.
Good evening. My name is Cecily Thornton.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It happens all the time. I was born in our beautiful city of Santa Ana in 1956. I am also very concerned about the proposed change to the bicycle master plan. The proposed change is to extend a Class 1 off-street cemented bike trail down the Santiago Creek. I believe that this is a horrible anti-green act. In 1998, a report by Lerner and Poole for the Center for the Continuing Study of California Economy found that conservation of green open space in higher density areas is essential for maintaining a higher quality of life and stable economic property values. Santa Ana cannot afford another decrease in the value of our properties. About 3 years ago, I became the primary caretaker for my father, whose property borders Santiago Creek. He has lived at that property for over 35 years. My father, who's 83 years old, suffers from Parkinson's disease. And if any of you are familiar with this disease, you know how stress increases the symptoms, especially tremor. My father is so stressed about the thought of a cement bike trail being built in his backyard that he has become despondent. There isn't much that my dad enjoys doing these days. He rarely leaves the house. What he does enjoy is sitting in his backyard and listening to the breeze and the trees and laughing at the birds and the squirrels. Building a cement bike trail behind his property would affect the balance of nature. It would destroy the habitat for many birds and animals, and it would take away so much of what we value by living here. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly, followed by Debbie McEwen.
Good evening. My name's Molly Martin, and I live in West Floral Park. And I have a statement to read about the proposed bike trail. The Santiago Creek segment in Santa Ana from I-5 to the Santa Ana River is very special and different from the other creek segments in that it's narrow, full of very large, beautiful trees, and lined with neighborhoods. It's more special than any other creek segment that has the bike trail. The City Council has heard only one perspective, that of the cyclists. who are seeking to build a bike trail without regard for the negative effects that this will have on the beauty of the creek, the habitat of the wildlife in the creek, and the quality of life that the existing large established trees provide to the surrounding Santa Ana neighborhoods. These Santa Ana neighborhoods are home to hundreds of people who should not be asked to sacrifice the beauty of the many mature trees for the wishes of a group who do not mind sacrificing the trees to get what they want. The cyclists want to ride their bikes where they want, and we want to preserve a very special place that would be permanently damaged to provide them with the additional trail they want. This part of the trail can easily be accommodated with a more logical and easy to implement route that would save this special segment of the creek in Santa Ana, a segment that is more special than any other part of the trail in any of the other cities. We would suffer greatly in that our lives would be altered negatively and permanently by the destruction done to the creek. The many people that call these neighborhoods home do not want to diminish the quality of the neighborhoods for the sake of a bike trail that can instead be placed where there is no impact on the natural beauty of the creek and all the surrounding neighborhoods. This very special segment of the proposed bike trail encompasses a lovely section of the creek where a large concentration of mature trees creates a tree line that influences the aesthetic of all the neighborhoods surrounding it. The tree line would be greatly diminished because a tree line is composed of large, tall trees. Chop the trees down so that the cyclists have the paved path they desire, and you negatively impact the quality of life in the city of Santa Ana. You can see the tree line as you walk, drive, or ride a bike through all the area surrounding the creek. You can't replant large mature trees, and there would be no place once the narrow area is cleared for a 10-foot paved bike trail to plant trees of any consequence. The solution is to leave the creek in its current state and put the bike trail where no trees are sacrificed, no wildlife displaced, or neighborhoods made less beautiful and enjoyable to live in. If the trees were cut down, they would be gone forever. The wildlife that live in them would be driven away. The negative consequences are many. We can all live better lives with a bike trail that leaves the beauty of this section of the creek intact and undisturbed. Let's work together to preserve the creek as it is and find the best solution to make a non-invasive bike trail possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.